Hey folks, Pat here from DNS, and this Madison area fishing report is current as of Friday, February 7th. Well, it's been super duper busy here at the shop, so hopefully I can knock this out here. But before I do, I want to stress that this report is for current conditions as of today's date. Many factors can cause ice conditions to vary, so please be careful no matter where you fish. For up-to-date ice conditions, please feel free to call the shop at 608-241-4225, and we can tell you what we're hearing around town, or if you run into some sketchy ice yourself, call the shop and let us know, or post in the comments below. Just a few announcements to take care of here quick. The Kicker Cup is hosting so this is the final cup event from last year's qualifiers. They're doing that on Lawrence Lake. That'll be on Sunday. Good luck to all the participants and the qualifiers that made it that far. You're in a pretty elite group of folks there. And yeah, we're just happy to sponsor this event. Jake, who organizes it, was just in here, and yeah, it's going to be a good one. And they do have another qualifying event on Lake Redstone on the 23rd, so we'll be promoting that. The Wisconsin fishing team has their Badger Battle on the Bay. This will be on Monona Bay, so you don't want to promote this, but also kind of a heads up to folks that are going to be fishing Monona Bay this weekend. These guys usually set up, near Brittingham Beach there, and where they rent the kayaks and canoes and stuff. So that area is going to be pretty busy on Saturday, but this is a great event. So if you're fishing out there, stop by, say hi, get yourself a raffle ticket. They got some great prizes they're giving away. You can enter the fishing contest. Great group, great stuff. Check it out. Sturgeon season opens tomorrow. So if you're into sturgeon spearing, it's like a whole niche thing, but it's a cool Wisconsin tradition. Over there in the Lake Winnebago system, if you get yourself a sturgeon tag, and then that season runs until February 23rd, or until they meet their goals of tagged fish. So, and I'll try to keep you posted on all that. So, also, if you're looking for something to do that's not fishing related, you can go down to the Frozen Assets Festival. That's hosted by the Clean Lakes Alliance off the Edgewater Hotel on Lake Mendota. So, or if you're planning to fish on Lake Mendota down in that area, you might want to steer clear of out in front of the Edgewater because it's going to be busy with folks. But it's a cool event. Clean Lakes Alliance, great group that does a lot of great, conservation work, clean water, promoting stuff like that. And so they got all day events on Saturday, tomorrow. And they got a schedule here on their website, cleanlakesalliance.org. You can check it out. Lots of cool educational stuff and stuff for kids. So check that out. And they're hosting the Ice and Snow Sailing World Championships that have actually been going on since Monday. But yeah, that's a big deal too. So that'll be going on. I think that's in conjunction with this festival. But I don't know if you saw on social media, I went down and did a little ice report for those folks. They asked me to come down and kind of reassure folks that there's plenty of ice, and there is plenty of ice, as we will talk about here shortly. And I just wanted to touch on this. I don't know how many of you know Jack Hurst. No, he didn't die. It looks like this on this website here. But great, Northside conservationist, fishing legend, Yahara Fishing Club legend, just a stand-up, all-around great guy. They had a piece in the Northside News. So if you get a chance to check out the Northside News, you can check it out in print. It's a great story about all his great conservation work over the years. He's 91, still doing it. And yeah, just wanted to, I guess, congratulate Jack or recognize Jack for his great achievements. A great guy. So everyone can look up to Jack. Shop news. Oh yeah, I still have raffle tickets for the Yahara Fishing Club. Those will be not on sale after this week. I got to turn those in. So they'll be drawing those. I think it's February 23rd at the Wisconsin Fishing Expo here at the Lion Energy Center. The Capital City chapter of Muskie Zinc giving away this awesome prize package of some lures. And I mean, if you know anything about muskie lures, they're like, $30 a pop. So like you got an awesome prize package here, and that comes with a fancy case that you can check out or you can win. So swing by and pick up some raffle tickets for that. You can, yeah, I don't know when they do the drawing, but it's a great group, benefits a great cause, and check that out. I'll give her a pause here, I think. Okay, and we're back. So back to shop news. Yeah, Muskie Raffle, come get your tickets. Great group, support them. Vexilar batteries. I got a good deal on some Vexilar lithiums that came in. So $59.99. These usually run like $75 or so. So if you want to step up to a lithium battery, we got them. Safety stuff, spikes, creepers, stuff like that. Got those back in stock. These micro spikes are super nice. Spud bars, not as important anymore. We're dealing with 12 plus inches ice, but always a good idea to have something like a length of rope, like a J rope, and the floating ice picks. Wax worms are still in short supply, so I'm only able to do the small quantities of them, but I did want to say too, I had a guy come in the other day and he slammed his thing of waxies down on the counter. He said, "You can have your dead wax worms back." And I and then he just stormed out. And I guess what I'm trying to say is when these come to you, they come cold, and so they're not moving around, and they're not dead. They're just very chilled. So just want to make that clear for folks that we don't sell dead wax worms. They turn black anyway when they die. And we got tying stuff up. So, yep, wintertime's a great time to tie flies. So stop in. We got fully stocked. Just got a whole bunch of new line in earlier this week. So check that out. Posters on the door include the Wisconsin Muskie Expo up in Wausau on March 14th, 16th. Got the Capital City chapter of Muskie's Inc. Muskie School at Wanakee High School. That is on March 22nd. The Badger Battle in the Bay poster, of course, that's tomorrow. Got a blood drive up the street at the church, and Drinking with Scissors has their next event on February 19th. Those are super awesome, and they're at a super awesome bar in the Muska Lounge, fishing themed bar. If you've never been there, over in Mendota, it's awesome. So maybe you can kill two birds with one stone and stop into Drinking with Scissors and check out a cool bar. So I think that pretty much does it for announcements. We can get into the report. So weather last week was a little warmer than your average first week of February, but nothing that damaged any ice, and the forecast for the next 2 weeks doesn't show a high above 30. So we should be in good shape through the month, I would think. Like I said, there's still plenty of ice out there, generally speaking, outside of a few sketchy areas I'll cover as we go through the report. Ice thicknesses around the chain are mostly running at least 12 inches everywhere, so conditions are generally safe for ATV travel. But I do want to, again, be clear that I'm certainly don't know about all the dicey areas around town or their most current conditions, so do be careful anywhere you fish, especially near current areas, heaves, and expansion cracks, and stuff like that. Generally around the chain, as far as fishing goes, if it's shallow water panfish you're after, if you can find weeds, you'll likely find bluegills and maybe a crappie mixed in with the usual spikes, waxies, and plastics working well for those fish. A few perch are being picked up over deep water in Mendota, but size has been a bit of an issue. Lots of 8 to 9 inch fish with a few over 10 mixed in. I haven't heard much off Monona at all, other than folks seeing scattered perch and lots of lookers, but no takers. Down on Wabisa and Kegonsa, while the perch have been a little hard to find, it sounds like if you can track them down, they're usually in a good mood with spikes and crappie minnows actually working well for those fish. Folks running shallow water tip-ups with shiners have been seeing good action for bass and lots of smaller pike all over the chain. Walleye have been showing up in some of those same shallow areas, usually the ones near shoreline breaks, and usually at low light hours. Otherwise, anglers are out on mid-lake humps and deeper shoreline breaks looking for walleye. And reports I've heard have been mixed, but most action, again, coming during low light periods. Either way, if it's walleye you're after, medium shiners, small suckers, and blacktail chubs have been working great for those fish. Up here on Cherokee, tons of ice up there. I was up there the other day, 16 inches at least. But the reports for gills have been pretty hit or miss. What I tell people is that Cherokee's always worth a look, but if it isn't happening, I probably wouldn't wait around all day for the fish to turn on. Tip-up action's been good with lots of 18 to 24-inch pike around up there, and a few nice largemouth bass mixed in with medium and large shiners working well for those fish. And again, Cherokee is under the same regulations as Mendota, so 10 fish daily bag limit on panfish. Walleye have to be 18 inches, and you can keep 3 per day, and pike have to be 40 inches, and you can keep 1 of those per day. And so as far as the rest of Lake Mendota goes, I'll just cover some of the heaves and stuff that's going on out there right now. So we got the usual heave that's always from Governor's over to Maple Bluff. That heave actually has been very nasty. I don't know a lot of people that are crossing it successfully. Yeah, I've heard about some folks even putting ATVs through trying to sneak by right up at the island over here. But that heave extends from Governor's Island down to Maple Bluff and past Maple Bluff. Then it skirts down close to the beach down here, Maple Bluff Beach. It's like less than 100 yards offshore, and then down past Dingle Bay, and I think it ends somewhere over here near Tenney. That heave also continues across the west side of Governor's Island. That does not, though, extend all the way across. I've learned that it only goes maybe about halfway across North Base, and then there's another heave that comes off the state park and heads towards Farwell's Point over here. So you can actually you can launch and access the main lake if you got an ATV, if you don't mind driving down this way a little ways, and then you can cut back up to get out onto the main lake. But that heave at Governor's Island that's coming off there, that's changes daily. Special thanks to the guys that got permanents out there. They've been maintaining the bridge that they built across there, but do be careful, especially if you're at an ATV trying to cross that heave. Otherwise, the heave down here on Mendota County Park is still there. That extends from here, and I think it just goes down along the shoreline this way. I'm not sure exactly how far down, but Dave Lundy, a friend of the shop here, sent me this great pic from there. This was on Wednesday, so you can see there's open waters come up on top of the ice. You can see it extends down, and then you can see it kind of curves. I don't know, I guess maybe that's like south, but this is facing west, and then it kind of curves to the south here. So that's hatch cover area down here, I think. So anyway, that's not a good heave either. So do be careful if you're trying to cross there. I haven't heard any confirmed things about what's going on at Second Point. I hear there's a heave out there. I've heard about water on top of the ice. I really don't know exactly what the status of that is. Picnic Point heave goes out this way. I don't think it goes very far out though. And then I did hear about a small heave that comes down along James Madison Park. But the folks down here at the Edgewater, down here off the square, they should have plenty of ice, plenty of safe ice. They do a 5K run down there. Everything should be fine for them. And, generally, if you can get out on the lake, the whole lake has at least 12 inches ice on it pretty much everywhere. So a lot of safe ice. Just be careful when you're around the heaves. As far as fishing goes, I guess we'll start with panfish. Haven't really heard much for panfish anywhere. Areas like Warner Bay have no weeds. This whole west end I've heard has no weeds. Weeds have just been a problem. There are weeds in University Bay. I haven't heard about any panfish down there though. So yeah, if you can find weeds though, you'll likely find panfish. I just haven't heard about any much in the way of bluegill or crappie action. The perch action, most of what I hear about is down here on the west end. A lot of scattered fish, although I have just recently heard, I think it was just 2 reports that guys had seen schools 10 feet thick. So schools are getting bigger. Maybe the perch are starting to school up and roam around out there. The folks that are finding fish are struggling to get them to bite, but they are catching their 10 fish perch limit. But it can be a struggle. And a lot of the fish, like I said in the intro, 8 to 9 inches with a few, over 10s in there. But I haven't heard any action off the east end of the lake over here in the East Basin. I think typically, they kind of start here and then kind of migrate here, and then late ice, they kind of finish on the east end. But we'll see. We'll see what happens this year. Lots of walleyes around, like I said, shoreline breaks, mid-lake humps, Dunn's Bar, Brearley Bar, Second Point, Commodore, Picnic Point, Governor's Island, anywhere there's a nice break near a shallow flat has been good. And there's lots of pike around. So pike are pretty much plentiful. You could get those anywhere you want. I'd say less than 20 feet and you'll find pike. Down here, it's kind of the same deal on Monona, where the Yahara River dumps in here. There's plenty of thick ice across the whole lake. Do be careful in areas where there's current, like where the Yahara dumps in. Got the warm water discharge at MG&E down here. There's some sketchy heaves down in the Monona Terrace area. And then do be careful in Weechawak Bay where the water comes out here. There's a lot of current there, so the ice can be sketchy there. But otherwise, plenty of safe ice everywhere. Perch have been very hard to come by. I don't think I've heard of one perch come off Monona yet this year. And walleyes, they've been getting a few, but that action's been kind of slow too. A lot of pike around, so there's always that in any shallow area. Old Brick up in these flats has been good, and down off Olin's been pretty good. They're also getting good panfish down here in Monona Bay, of course. Then you'll have the Battle on the Bay. The UW fishing team is going to be off the beach here. Triangle's been kind of quiet lately, from what I hear. Otherwise, Lake Winger's got tons of tiny bluegills. I've heard about the occasional nice perch mixed in with those, and then a lot of smaller pike and some good bass in there to be had on tip-ups. Haven't heard anything off Turville Bay. Well, I take that back. I have heard a couple folks have been in there and found a few fish, but nothing hot and heavy. Down here to Weechawak, formerly known as Squaw Bay. Just been hearing about scattered bluegills and some smaller walleye and pike. Otherwise, moving down the chain, we have Upper Mud. Haven't heard anything out there. In fact, I've heard a lot of guys ask me, what's going on at Upper Mud, because I haven't seen anybody out there, and I haven't heard anything that's going on out there. So who knows? I haven't heard that it's not great, but I haven't heard that it's great either. So it's great habitat out there, great structure, with the dredge hole and good weeds for pike fishing. So might be worth a check, but the path back there is frozen, not sloppy, but it is bumpy because it's not snowy. Otherwise, down on Wabisa, the north end of the lake, it sounds like off Lake Farm Park, the bluegill action's been picking up there a little bit after it's been a dead sea all winter. There have been no pike or virtually no pike or walleyes that I've heard off this end of the lake. A lot of the walleye action that I've been hearing about is between Babcock and Bible Camp down on this kind of southeast end of the lake. Otherwise, the south end of the lake sounds like there's a decent bluegill bite down there, but size has been a bit of an issue. As far as perch go, they're scattered out here. It takes a little doing to find them, it sounds like, but if you can find them, they're generally in a good mood. And here again, rosy reds and crappie minnows have been working pretty well. And I don't think I mentioned that about Mendota. Some folks have been doing well with crappie minnows and rosy reds on Lake Mendota as well. But also spikes work great too. Load a jig up with spikes and send her down there. Same thing down in Kegonsa. Scattered fish all over it's basically a big basin out here in Kegonsa. They've been finding perch scattered, and if you can find them, they're generally in a good mood. And again, spikes and small minnows have been working. Otherwise, bluegills down here on the south end of the lake in the weeds just a little bit. I don't even know if I've heard a report in a couple weeks now. And then walleyes off the state park is usually a good spot. All right, so moving on down to Lake Koshkonong. I actually got a report that they were getting some fish over here at the Indian Ford Dam and Jefferson Dam. So, if you're itching to get out and do some casting, that might be the spot for you. Otherwise, Lake Koshkonong sounds like they have good ice. Maybe some sketchy stuff down here on the south end yet. There's a lot of springs and expansion cracks and stuff, but it sounds like most of the action for fishing anyway happens up on this north end of the lake there. I don't know. I guess I haven't heard much off Beaver Dam in a while. They're getting some trout off Devil's Lake over here. So yeah, that's been a good bite over there. If you want to get out of town and mix it up, I always try to get over there at least once a year and do that. Just a nice change of pace. I guess, oh yeah, Crystal Lake, there's a ton of yellow bass. If you like yellow bass, I mean, I hear they're delicious. Fish Lakes, I've been kind of quiet. I've heard about a crappie bite over there, but that's about it. Otherwise, down on the river itself, all your backwater sloughs and stuff should be plenty safe for foot travel for sure. Do be careful of springs, though. You just never know, I guess. Not much happening on the river itself, though. Lake Wisconsin sounds like all your bays, Moon Valley, and the Fingers, Grade, stuff like that. I've been producing some panfish, but size has been a bit of an issue. And then I haven't heard anything about walleyes out on the lake itself. So I've been pretty quiet as far as I hear anyway. Moving up the river, yeah, not much going on in the river. We got, but Castle Rock and Petenwell sounds like a decent walleye and crappie bite on both lakes. Maybe more crappies on Castle Rock and maybe more walleyes on Petenwell. But yeah, if you want to get out of town, that's an option. Otherwise, Mississippi River fishing's been great over there from what I hear. You got Lake on Alaska has been good. Stoddard, DeSoto I've heard a lot about. And of course you got the many, many backwaters over there if you want to just like get away and find some solitude. That's a great place to do it. And they've been getting a lot of good perch. I've been seeing some great pictures of some nice perch. So yeah, it might be worth a trip over there. Otherwise, over to Milwaukee. The rivers, I don't know what condition they're in right now. Probably low because we haven't had any rain or melt. But then I don't know what the ice situation is. It's been warm-ish, but maybe not enough to melt some of the ice that we have. So I would concentrate if you're looking in the rivers for steelhead. I would look, in some current areas, Estabrook, Kletch, stuff like that is great. Otherwise, they are fishing in the harbors, down here and, behind Summerfest and stuff like that, and getting brown trout and steelhead in there. Otherwise, I don't know of much else going off around Milwaukee or anywhere else, I guess, for that matter. The early season catch and release trout season is still in effect, and I've talked to some folks that were out this last week. It's been pretty chilly, but streams are starting to free up and get some of the ice off, and the shelf ice is disappearing. So, of course, with it being early catch and release season, you can't keep any fish, and only artificial lures may be used this time of year. Slow and low is really the name of the game. So you're looking for deeper holes, corners, stuff like that. I would, kind of avoid fast water. I guess you can run stuff through there, but wouldn't spend too much time there. And also no real need to get up at the crack of dawn to chase trout this time of year, in my experience. They tend to be on, what I kind of call ultra bankers hours, which is like 10 to 2 is when the best bite is. But more accurately, especially with the temps coming up this week, with them being, in like, 30 or so, you're looking at maybe 11 to 1. It's a tight window, and maybe that's just on a sunny day. But on the spinning gear side of things, suspending or sinking jerk baits or like a husky jerk or a Rapala countdown are good. Crappie Sipes tube jigs are good, work slower through those deep runs. Otherwise, on the fly side of things, small nymphs, woolly buggers, drifted same through those same runs and pools can be effective. And I guess we'll just segue that right into our Happy Fly Day feature. So happy Fly Day, everybody. I was talking about nymphs. I've talked about these for weeks. You got midge nymphs, real tiny 18s and 20s, and then you got woolly buggers. Run a nymph behind a woolly bugger, or just fish as pink squirrel. It's really the only fly you need, I think, in the wintertime. And then you can maybe run a midge nymph behind it. But I have been with some of these warmer days we've been having, and especially sunny days, you'll get little hatches coming off. So this time of year, it's basically just stone flies. I would focus mostly on like dark flies like this. This is obviously an all black caddis pattern, but they work really well as stonefly imitations. Most of your stonefly imitations you can buy, are gigantic for like out west or like, chubby Chernobyls and stuff like that. So anyway, a small dark caddis pattern works wonderful to imitate those stoneflies. You can get them all black with black hackle on them, or these, or even like a gray can work sometimes. Otherwise, midges. So if you see fish coming and rising, but you can't figure out what they're rising to, they're probably eating midges. So these are 18s and 22s, little black. You can get a little parachute thing if you got better eyes, or if you got eyes like mine. Otherwise, if you got better eyes than I do, you can go all black, and these are 18s and 20s. But tiny flies catching some nice fish out there. So give that a look. Stop in. We're fully stocked, and the fly fishing is only going to get better from here, folks. I think that's it for the report. I think we made it. It's been a long one. I appreciate you hanging in there, and lots to talk about, though. And so if you have any questions on what we covered, call the shop, 241-4225. Post your comments and catches below. And otherwise, we will talk to you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, and good luck out there.